Alright guys, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to talk about navigation, and in this navigation tutorial, or just code time, we'll be talking about three things in navigation, which is the button clicks or button navigation, drawers, and then bottom navigation. So let's get into what we have for the day before we proceed. Before we proceed, you may be interested to have some tools for you to follow up this. You should have Flutter and that set up on your system. I am using Visual Studio Code, but you might prefer to use Android Studio, which is this. But I prefer using Visual Studio Code to code my Flutter projects. And then my emulator slows down my system. My system is not that fast, so I have my Android phone connected to my system, which is this. For you to project it to your system, you might need to have an srcpy extension installed on your system. You can have it on Ubuntu or Windows. I don't know about Mac. So let's proceed. So I already have a project on a Flutter project, and I am on the main.dat file, which is under the lib folder. So in this main.dat file, that is where our main method will be created. That is where our application starts running from. So the first thing we do, we import a package, which is a Flutter package for material apps /material.dat. So when we import that, we create our class. The class that we need to create is to contain maybe what we want to call our app or whatever. So I'll call it let's call it navigation app. So we write class. So I have an extension that helps me to be fast in whatever I am doing in Flutter. The extension is awesome Flutter snippets. It helps you to work faster. It gives you some autocomplete functionalities. So I can just say stateless widget, and then I tab. So we want to call it navigation app. Alright, navigation app. The default name of the app that is generated is always my app. So you may need to come to your text app and then change the name here to any app that you are creating. So let's just close this and proceed. So now what you want is the main method which will run your app. So what will you do? You say main, and the autocomplete helps you. Then you say run app, then your app, which is the navigation app, and you end your line with a semicolon. We might ignore the blue squabble under this navigation. It just tells you to use const with constructor to improve performance. So we can actually ignore it, or we can just put it there for improved performance on our apps. So now we want to use a material app design. So we not just return a container here, we return a material app. So under the material app, we create our home. Then the home, we have a widget which is called a scaffold. It might interest you to know that almost everything in Flutter are widgets. So let's just proceed. Under the home, you now have the body, the app bar and the rest. So let's create the app bar. You also return an app bar or impute an app bar. In the app bar, there are some things that may be there: trailer or leading here. The leading functionality, you can put up anything there, maybe your logo or anything, but for now I don't have images in there, so I'll just put an icon there. So which icon can I put there? Let's just put any icon. So you see icon, icons dot b, let's just say star. You can change the color or color, take colors dot white. Can change the size and all that, but we don't really have to focus on all that. So after the leading, we can put up a title. Then the title will be the name of our application, which, or any other thing you want to call it, or you can call it homepage or whatever you want to put up on the app bar. So let's just call it navigation. Alright, sorry, to be a text widget. Which is a string. Call it navigation. Don't mind the blue underlines. They are just for constructors, for consts or constructors, which just helps to improve the performance of your application. It is necessary though, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll just move along. So app bar, after the app bar, you now put the body. In the body, you can just put a scaffold. Or if you don't want a scaffold, you can use a center widget, which will centralize everything on the screen. So with the scaffold we just have a white background. Or let's just run the application. You might run your application using the F5 key or the debug runner, or you can use your terminal where you type Flutter run, which might tell you to choose a device. If my Android device was not attached, it will ask me to use Google Chrome or to use the desktop, which is Ubuntu. So Flutter run, yeah. So it's launching on Infinix X627 on debug mode. So our focus on this code session is to move from one screen to another. So I'll be creating some screens here. So on the lib folder, create a new folder. and then we name it screens. Here we'll create other files. Okay, our app is up. This is the title of the app bar, and then the icon, which is the leading. So and then there is a debug banner here, which I don't really like. If you want to remove it, you go to material app, and then you see debug show checked mode banner. It's a boolean. You write false, so you hit R to refresh, and then it's all gone and it looks cool. You can actually change the background of your app bar and all that, but that is not our focus. No. So in the center widget, we can create a child and call the child an elevated button. An elevated button. So there are two required components of an elevated button: the onPressed method, and then a child, which might be the name or the title of the button, or any other thing, maybe an image or an icon. So first off, let's set the child to a text, which will have a text of nest written in there. Then on press, what will happen? This is our real focus. On press, what will happen? So before then, let's create other screens. New file. You can call this home. Home page. .dat. Create another one. Can call it profile page. .dat. And then we create another one we can call details or detail page. So we have these 3 pages in here. So for now, we might want to move to the home page. What we'll have to do is import package Flutter material app material.dat. So here we create a class, or as we want a stateless widget, we just create a stateless widget which will have the app class with it. So what's the name? We name it home, and then right here we can return a scaffold. So yeah, okay with this. We can sorry. All right. Then from here, all we want to do is to go to the home page. When we click a button, So if you refresh here, you already see the button. Just look at the button, but there is no design on it or whatever yet. And when you click, nothing happens. So when we want to now move to a next page, we call on navigator dot push. We either push or pop. To push, we move to a new page. To pop, we exit the current page. So we say navigator dot push. There are parameters we need. We need material page route, and then the builder is context. Context, which points to a singular argument. The method or the function points to a singular argument, which is going to the home page. When you type the home page .dat file is called up there, and then you close up the line. When you refresh, there will be an error. Then I'll show you how to go about that. Yes, there is an error. Can I see? It says the following assertion was thrown while handling a gesture. Navigation operation requested with a context that does not include a navigator. The context used to push or pop routes from the navigator must be that of a widget that is a descendant of a navigator widget. So the context we are using to pop or push is not a descendant of a navigator widget. So if you want to solve this, issue, you might not want to start off from the main method to run code your user interfaces, but another workaround for it is to wrap the run app in a material app. So what we have to do is we wrap the run app in a material we wrap the material app inside the run app. So let's do this. So let's wrap it with a widget. What's the code? Material app. Instead of child, we go with home. That's how this works. So let's refresh. So the error is still there. What you have to do is you now remove this material app that was returned here. Let's go from here and remove it. Remove this. So we are good now. So refresh. Yeah. No directionality widget found and all that. So we perform a hot restart and then this now works. So we have learned how to move from one page to another. So we can actually come here, and return an app bar. And give it a title, call it home page. So we have this, because it's a material design, you already have the back button in there, which you can use and move. So this is just what it is like to move or to do navigation with buttons. But for us not to start writing all these, we cannot actually create a route. You can create a route in the material app. So for us to create routes, we go this way. We name the route. You can call it home. Where do you want it to go to? Have the home. Just as simple as that. So when you now want to do this, to move from a page to another, you now use navigator dot name push. Say navigator dot push named. A hot restart for that to work. All right. So we can still navigate through these. So the next navigation pattern we are going to look at is the drawer. So let's forge ahead now. I would love to take off this. I love to take off this. And all these. Okay. Let me create one more page or a screen. Then I'll call it start page. Dot that. So that we have a clean code. So import package Flutter. So we can change all these back to its normal form. Okay, so we have all these here. Then what we want to do is, when we get into this app, we now move to the start page. So yeah, there is nothing in the start page. So okay, so let's remove this. So on the app bar, what we need a title. Sorry, we need an app bar. A title. So after the app bar, what next we need is a drawer. So this drawer has been built. Flutter, the Flutter developers have built some inbuilt functionalities to it, where you have the drawer header and the rest in a list. So let's just forge ahead and see how it looks. So in the drawer, you can now have a child. Then I prefer to use a column. In the column, you have children, a list of children that goes on vertically. So drawer header, it can be anything. So I will create an icon there. You can use an image. That will be your application's identity. So after that, you should have what we need the profile page, the home page, and then the detail page. So first of all, you now have to call on a list style here. So in the list style, you have the leading where you can put an icon or whatever. So I'll use an icon for the first one. I'll have to use an icon for home. Sorry. Icons dot home. Then the title, which is a text. Can call it home. To make it beautiful, you can give spaces this way. So that's it for that list style. So we need 2 more of that for the profile and the detail page. So just change this to profile. Detail. So on the profile, we can use icon.person here. Yeah, can use it. So let's refresh and see what we have. Yeah, we already have the button here. So when you click, this is what you have. But now when you click any of them, nothing happens. Nothing happens for now. So for us to move through these pages, we now have to come here. Okay. On the app bar, we can body, can call this home. Then we copy all these to the other pages. Now we have this. Okay, the detail page. Now we do the same thing. We name it detail. All right. All right. So this is what we need. You can actually change the drawer color and all that. And you can say background color, maybe colors dot something like that, but it's not looking all that good. Can use better. So we can still use blue. Yeah. So for us now to navigate through each page, you can now come here in each list style. We now have the on tap. What do we want to happen on tap? We write our function. There is an issue here because I called this const constructor here. So the on tap is not a const constructor. It's not a const. So let's go navigator dot push material route picture. We want it to take us to the home page. So we have an error somewhere. Yeah. Now close this. So on the main.dat file, we can actually create the routes. Can create the routes as we did earlier on. You can say home. Profile. about or about. Okay. Oh, sorry, used detail. So call it detail. All right. So up here we can then move to the next. On top, we now want to move to the profile page. So we say navigator, dot push named instead of push. Just put the name of the route. So we want to go to the profile, say profile. And that is it. On the last one, we say on top. Create your function, navigator, dot push named detail. Sorry, I have been coding on Kotlin, so the semicolon is somehow alien to me right now. So let's check it out. Okay. Profile page, then detail. You. All right. We left this as we brought it down here. We can just rename them. To detail. But if you notice, when we come back here, this app drawer keeps on staying as it is. So that's not the functionality we want. It's not how we want it to react when we move to a page and return back to this starter page. So what can we do about that? We have to pop the context first. Before we now push. So we say navigator, dot pop context. So we do the same for the other ones. And these two. So then all right. So when we tap home and then we go back here, it just leaves us with a plain page. Profile page leaves us with a plain page. Detail page leaves us with a plain page when we go back. So that is it for drawer. That's how it works. So the last one we are going to do, which is also easy or a bit trickish, is the bottom navigation bar. So let's forge ahead to do that. So on this start page, we can clear everything we have written down here. So on the bottom navigation bar, what you have to do, we'll clear the drawer, we'll delete the code for the drawer. So let's refresh or restart. So the drawer is no more here. So what we only have here is our navigation app, which is this start page. Okay, so for us to achieve what we want, we can create the bottom navigation bar. And then in the bottom navigation bar, we have the bottom navigation item. So it requires an icon and a label. So what we want is the home, the profile, and then the detail. So why do we have an error here? It says the type can't be assigned to a parameter list. Okay. Sorry. This should be a list of items. It should be list of items. So after the icon, we now have a label. So in the label, we'll call it home. Sorry, should be a text. Sorry. Okay, so this is one item, so we need two more items. In the list. So icon the person for profile. This is the detail page. Can use the icons.info. Let's refresh and see what we have. Yeah. So when you click it now, nothing spectacular happens, except that you can see some clicks on there. So what do we need? First of all, we need to create a list. So we say final list, screen lists. Let's call the list screen lists, because they are screens. So what do we need in them? We need the home, the detail, or the profile page, and then the detail page or the detail screen. So we have to create an integer value which will select the default screen that we want, so we can, or the current screen, so we can call it selected screen, which is equal to 0. And finally, we have to create a function to set the state of our screen whenever we move from one of these to another. So what will you call it? We call it let's create a function called void current screen. Void current screen, which you have the state, an integer called state init, and then we set the state equal to the selected screen will now be equal to the state. So we say set state. Oh, sorry. When you cannot set a state or change state when you're using a stateless widget. So you have to change your stateless widget to a stateful widget. For us to do that, as we didn't start off with a stateless with a stateful widget, we have to convert our stateless widget to a stateful widget. What do? We click on the stateless widget and then convert to stateful widget. So that was easy. So when we now say set state, we already have it here. Selected screen equal to state. So we now go down to our bottom navigation bar. First thing we have to do, we declare our current index. Our current index will now be the selected screen, which is the home. That is what we want to be the current index, because a list is a zero based lists are always zero based. So this is the home is at position 0, profile position 1, and then detailing position 2, even though we have 3 items in the list. So that was why I said you should have a little knowledge of programming before you take on this. So the current index now says selected screen. Yeah. So on top of each of these, we want something to happen. So there is an on top function for bottom navigation bar. So what we want is the current screen. That is what we want, the current screen. So I think we are good to go. Let's check them out. You don't need the app bar in them. You don't need the app bar. You just need the body. So when we refresh or restart, we can then actually move from each page to another. So there is still a little issue here. So we have not stated our what do you call it, the body. So we just have the app bar and then the bottom navigation bar. So you have to state the body of the application. So the body, so for us to have the body showing, we now have to call our lists, which we've not made use of. That's why we have this yellow. It says the value of the field screen isn't used, so we'll call it here. Screen list, which is a list. and then we start with the selected screen. Alright, we have the home, now have the profile, and we have the detail page. So these are the few navigation approaches you have to learn in your journey in Flutter as a beginner. First was the button clicks, the second was the drawer, and the third was is the bottom navigation bar. So if you have any issue, you can ask questions in the comment section below, or you can check out the GitHub repository in the details of the video posted above. Thank you very much for watching. Do have a nice time.